Every society has these lines, right? Lines around what's okay to say or show or sell in public. But when does it stop being about personal taste and start being about the law? Well, that's what we're going to get into today. We're diving deep into the legal rules in India that try to define obscenity and indecency. So let's start with the big question. What actually makes something legally obscene? It seems like it should be a simple question, but the legal answer is super specific, and honestly, it has huge implications. What's the test a court actually uses to say, yep, that book or that movie has crossed the line? That's the core puzzle we're tackling. Okay, so here's our game plan. First up, we're going to pin down the legal definition of obscenity. Then we'll look at the main law that handles it, which is Section 292 of the Indian Penal Code. After that, we'll check out some related offenses that happen in public. And finally, we're going to try to untangle the really tricky kind of gray area of indecency.
All right, let's start at the very beginning. The absolute foundation. What does the law even mean when it uses the word obscene?
And just so you know where all this is coming from, everything we're talking about is pulled directly from the Indian Penal Code itself, plus analysis and reports from the Law Commission of India. These are the folks who study the country's laws and suggest changes, so it's all straight from the source. So here we go. This is the official definition from Section 292. Now, words like lascivious and prurient interest basically means something that's meant to arouse sexual desire in a sort of lewd way. But honestly, the most important part of this whole thing, the real heart of the legal test, is that last little phrase. And this is the phrase that matters most. See, something isn't legally obscene just because it's shocking or offensive to some people. The court has to look at the whole thing and ask, would this actually morally corrupt the kind of person who is likely to see it or read it? That deprave and corrupt test is a really high bar to clear.
Okay, so with that definition locked in, let's see how it's actually used in Section 292. This is the main law that spells out exactly what's illegal and what happens if you break the rules. What's really fascinating here is just how wide a net this law casts. It's not just about selling something obscene. Nope. It covers making it, having it, importing it, distributing it, even just advertising it. The law basically tries to shut down the entire supply chain from start to finish.
And the penalties? Well, they're serious, and they get worse. As you can see, a first-time conviction could get you up to 2 years in prison. But if you're convicted a second time, that potential jail time more than doubles to 5 years. And the fine goes up too. It's pretty clear this is designed to stop people from being repeat offenders. Now, it's not just about obscene materials. The Indian Penal Code has other rules that deal with obscenity in specific situations, like when it comes to protecting kids or keeping things orderly in public. Section 293 carves out a whole separate and much more serious offense for giving obscene stuff to young people. And notice the age here is 20. The law sees this as a much bigger deal than the general offense, and as we're about to see, the punishment reflects that. And wow, this number really drives it home. 7 years? That's the maximum prison time for a repeat offense under the section. It just goes to show you how much of a priority the law places on shielding younger people from this kind of material. Okay, so Section 294 changes gears a bit. We're moving from objects to actions. This part makes it illegal to do an obscene act or use obscene language in public. But check out that crucial phrase at the end, to the annoyance of others. That's key. It means the act isn't just judged on its own. Its actual impact on the people around is part of what makes it a crime. So that brings us to our final and maybe most confusing topic. The difference between something that's obscene versus something that's merely indecent. And believe me, this is where the lines get really blurry. Yeah, even the Law Commission of India flat out says it. Unlike the word obscene, the term indecent isn't really defined anywhere in the Penal Code. And that lack of a clear definition, it creates a huge headache for courts, for artists, for everyone, because nobody's 100% sure where that line is. This chart kind of helps clear it up. Think of obscenity as the highest level of offense. It has to have that deprave and corrupt tendency we talked about. Indecency, on the other hand, is lower on the scale. It's something that's offensive to, normal standards of what's proper, but it doesn't necessarily corrupt you. And here's a really important distinction. Obscenity is almost always about sex, but the Law Commission says indecency can cover all sorts of other offensive behavior. And so this is where we land. At the end of the day, all these laws are trying to strike a really difficult balance.
It's this fundamental tension between protecting the public, especially young people, and allowing for things like artistic expression and individual freedom. Figuring out exactly where to draw that line, well, that's probably one of the toughest and most enduring challenges for any legal system anywhere.